Hello everyone. It is Jackie from Pocket Preschool, and I am so excited you guys are here with me tonight. Tonight we are talking all about activities you can do to count all the way up to 100, and I'm also showing you guys the brand new Counting to 100 unit. This unit is part of the Little Learners math curriculum, so if you own the math curriculum bundle or the whole curriculum, hop over to TBT, click on this unit, and you can download it because it is included. Or if you just want to grab the Counting to 100 unit, you can do that. The link is at the top of this post. So in the comments, I want you to tell me your favorite Counting to 100 or counting like large numbers or like skip counting activity that you do in your classroom with your kiddos. Because I love hearing what you guys do in your classrooms, and it's always fun to learn from each other. So tonight is all about counting to 100 or counting to 50, because some preschoolers, they may not be ready to count, or pre-K kiddos, or TK, all the Ks. Even if they're not ready to count to 100, maybe they're ready to count past 20. So a lot of these activities I'm going to show you tonight, a lot of them are counting to 50 as well. So even if maybe your kiddos aren't ready to count to 100, they can do the activities that count to 50. And these are really fun too for 100th day of school, which I know happens in the spring. So let's jump on in. So first, books. You guys know I love all the books. In the unit is a book list on all of the fun counting to 100 and like skip counting books I could find that are actually appropriate for little learners. And I am working on a blog post. So if you don't have the unit, you can still find some really cool books. So let me show you some of the favorites I found. So this one is just a big book of counting. I like this one because it's kind of simple at first, so it's great. And the pages are a little bit thicker. So it just kind of counts. Just up to 10. And then it shows counting so it counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, the single digits, and then it counts by 10. So it shows you 10 boats, and then like 30 umbrellas. I am skipping pages. 70 snowflakes. So that way kiddos can kind of start to visually see how big some of these numbers are and how big of a quantity 70 is, or how big of a quantity 80 is. So this is a really fun one. It's on Amazon, the big book of counting to 100. So that's a good one. I like this one. It's just, I know my numbers. Oh, Facebook has me backwards tonight. Sorry about that, guys. But it's just all the ways that numbers are in our environment. So this one is, there's numbers on a board game. So it's just kind of talking about where numbers are in the environment, kind of like why it's important to learn how to recognize numbers. So this one is, I know numbers. 1 watermelon seed is another fun one. It just is counting all the seeds, and you can see kind of at the bottom, again, it counts by 10. So it counts up to 10 and then counts by tens. And then this book, this one, there's a whole bunch in this kind of like series. This one's like, Let's Count to 100. And again, it's just showing you visually how big 100 is, because that's a lot, right? So it's just showing you all the different things in groups of 100 and like animals on parade. But there's a whole series in this set. So there's like 100 hungry monkeys. There's just a ton. Okay, this one's out of print, so I'm gonna put that one away. And then there are a lot of, if you're doing counting by tens or skip counting, this one is, there's a whole bunch by Michael Dahl. Whoops, receipt. And then it's in the Know Your Numbers series. So I love him as an author. He's great. Does some really fun counting books. Literally any book he writes, I almost buy. So like this one's Far, Far Away, and it's 70 tail feathers. So they're counting in groups of 10, and I like it because it also has the different representations of the number at the bottom. And then like here's another one, Toasty Toes, counting by tens. We love candy books. These are out of, I don't think they're printing these anymore, but you can find like used ones, but it's counting Reese's Pieces. There's like an M&M counting book that goes up to 20 that I love too, but there's a Reese's Pieces one, and then here's another Michael Dahl book, and it's Plenty of Petals, so it's counting groups of 10. And again, he has all of the different, so you can count the petals or count down there at the bottom as well. So love him. So I'm working on getting that blog post done for you guys. So that should be up on the blog soon. But if you have the unit, again, there's always a clickable book list in every math unit. And like I said, this is part of the Little Learners Math curriculum. And this is the last unit, you guys. It's finally finished. I started this unit before COVID hit. So it got derailed a little bit, but it's finished. Woohoo! Like, celebrate. So there's like counting to 10, counting like teen numbers, counting 11 to 20. That's another unit. There's also 2D shapes, 3D shapes, patterns, colors. Graphing and sorting is one unit together. Measurement, positional words. There's also a unit on addition and subtraction. And what I typically do, I haven't done this with this unit yet, but I just put everything on a book ring because I don't, and then I put all the activities in a drawer and have it kind of ready to go. And then I can like grab it when I need it. And then this is on a book ring, and then I put the activity right here. And then if there, where's one? Like if there is a principle with it, I always put that on the back. So like teacher direction pages, and then any printables are on the inside in the back. So then I have it on a little book ring. I can grab it. I can plan with it. I just don't like binders, but if you are a binder person, no worries, because there are spine labels in here too for you guys. So these are, next I'm gonna tell you a whole bunch of ideas you can do with number cards. So like I said, if you don't have my unit, these are some activities you can use with any number cards you have that go up to 100. And again, if your kiddos are not ready to count to 100, just put them out to 30, put them out to 50. You do what works for your kiddos. Oh, I also forgot to tell you, there are there's some posters in here. So this one's just counting by ones. It kind of just explains to kids like all the different ways we can count. So we can count by ones, we can count by fives, or we can count by tens, and kind of how that looks like, and also how it looks on the 100 chart too. So those are just fun, also included in the unit. So what I did with my number cards is each 10 is on a page. Okay, so I printed each one a different color, so that way, if your kiddos want, they can literally just sort. So they can sort all the 40s in a pile, all the teens in a pile, all the 20s in a pile, so they can just sort the numbers. They can also make a gigantic number line going from 1 to 100. They could also make a hundreds chart and a pocket chart, or just count up to 50. You kind of do it however you want. So those are just a couple things you can do. There's also in the unit a ton of different 100 charts. So if you have that as a center, there's like 100 charts that are missing numbers. There's 100 charts that are filled in. I have tracing. And then I also have counting by tens on the 100 chart. And then again, I also have 252. That way, if your kiddos are, again, if they're not ready to count to 50, that is okay. You can have them just count to 50. So if you have a number chart, let's just think about some ideas you can do with just some number cards. So grab a 100 chart, and then what you can do is they can literally just pick a card and they can find it, squeaky, and mark it off. Super simple, right? Pick a card, 74, and then they can, cross it off. Just put them in a dry erase pocket. And literally, it's just like learning that 100 chart and then finding all the numbers, starting to name them. So you can do that. You can also pick a card, and with mini erasers or whatever you have that your kiddos like to count, they can cover up that number too with mini erasers, and eventually their whole chart will be filled up. So you can do that with a 100 chart. I'm gonna put this under here. And then you can also do a number hunt. So this one I do have, so you can hide these around the room, or you can flip them over this way. So they're hiding. And you can have them, you can grab some magnifying glasses just to make it a little bit more fun. And then they can pick the card and then they can use their magnifying glass and they can identify. So this one's 50. And then this one has a little number hunt with little header on it. And then they can just mark it off. So this one, I started marking them off in yellow. So you can use it also, all the 100 charts as a worksheet as well. So just adding the magnifying glasses just makes it a little bit more fun. They can be like number detectives and find all the numbers on their 100 chart. And you don't, again, you don't have to hide them all around the room. They can just, you can also put these in like a sensory bin. You can do that. Or just, again, just flip them over. My pile. Okay. I also have a one more, one less board included in this. So that way you can take the number cards and again, pick the cards that your kiddos, that are appropriate for your kiddos. So maybe you're just gonna pull out numbers to 30 for this activity, or maybe you're gonna pull them out to 50, but they put the number card in the middle and then they have to figure out what is one less and then one more. So they're subtracting one and adding one. So, so like 1 less than 12 would be 11, and then one more would be 13. And then they simply, oh God, I forgot my eraser. Okay. We'll just erase with a piece of paper. And then they can pick it again. So this one is 35, one less would be 34, and one more would be 36. Okay, and you can have a 100 chart out with this activity too to kind of help them so they can check it, so they could find the number and then check what's one more and one less. So you can have that out with this activity as well. So those are some fun ideas. Oh, I have another one too. And then if you want kiddos to start exploring or practicing using base 10 blocks, you can have them literally just pick a number card. And again, you guys, if you don't have my unit, no worries. You can just grab a number card and they can just pick it out and have them make a T-chart on just a piece of white paper. And they can just make that number with the 10 frames, or not 10 frames, base 10 blocks, sorry. Got my wrong math tool on thinking in my brain. So again, if you want them to do numbers up to 20, up to 30, 50, it's really easy too when you color code it. So you could pick out all the 30s maybe. You want to have them practice just working with making the 30s, and maybe you want to have them practice 30s, 40s, and 50s. You can do that. And then there are a ton of worksheets in here. Like here's one for base 10. So you could put that with the activity. I have a couple other base 10 block activities you could put with that if you wanted. Oh, here's the other one. It's right behind it. This one is counting by 10s for base 10 blocks. So those are two fun ones. And then I kind of, for when I made the math curriculum, I wanted to make it so if the kiddos or you were using the math curriculum, they were all kind of similar. So all of my math units so far, all of them in the curriculum all have puzzles. So I wanted to add some fun puzzles for this one too. So this one, they are counting by tens, and I have it starts at 0, and they count 10, 20, all the way up to 100, and they're just really, really big puzzles. So just a giant floor puzzle, and they have the number, the base 10 block, and then the number word in the corner. And again, it goes all the way. It's like here's 90, and then 100. So it goes all the way up, so they can see the quantities and the numbers get bigger and bigger and bigger, and they can put them in order on the floor. And then I know there are not many, but there are some kindergarten classes or standards that are extra tricky. So they have to start, or maybe you have kiddos that are ready for it, but you want them to start counting by 5s. So I do have a counting by 5s floor puzzle as well. And then again, if you want it to stop at 50, stop at 50. But it goes all the way up to, oh, sorry, shook you guys. It goes all the way up to 100. So again, just a giant floor puzzle. And these are little hands, so they can count the ones and then figure that out. So again, just seeing visually and then with the number as well. So seeing the quantity and seeing it visually. And then here's some other of just some generic worksheets that are included. So this one they are cutting and pasting the numbers up to 100 and putting them in order. Or this one, I can count by tens or I can count by fives, and they have to fill it in. So these are great for any activity really, because I have a lot of them are kind of generic. So that way you can put them with whatever activity you want, or you can just do them as a class. So I have another caterpillar activity. It's a puzzle, so they're counting by tens. And then I wanted to do some kind of fun little craft, so they're making a number line. So why not make a caterpillar number line? So they get the printable and then they can color it in. And then I just took, it ended up being like a sentence strip and a half. So just they can tape some together, and then they literally cut them out and then they put them in order. And then I also have it as a puzzle, so that way they can, if they wanted to do the puzzle first, they could do that. And then they could put theirs in order. These would be cute on a bulletin board, or they can take them home, whenever they wanted. But this also sneaks in some fine motor work with lots of fun cutting. So a little fun caterpillar number count. All right, so we all know that they actually need to like count to 100, and it's really, really big. So what better way than to do a number train? So I have all the numbers that go all the way up to 100. And again, if you want to just do it to 50, that's totally fine too. But they can do this in a pocket chart, and they can put the numbers and do a giant all the way up to 100. And if you wanted to add a manipulative, you could add little pom-poms, and that could be like the coal. So they could do 1, I can't find a black one. We'll just pretend. 2, 3, 4, 5. So they could put little pom-poms in each one. That way they have something to physically touch and count. And that way they can figure out what is next. So they'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then they could find the number 6. Or maybe they're up to 35. They have to find 35. And then I do have 2 worksheet options with that. So again, tracing or counting to 100. And you don't have to use the pom-poms as manipulative, but some kids just having that physical item to touch and count is really, really helpful, especially when the numbers get so big. And then this is another one. It's basically the same activity, just with a different theme. So this one is ants. And then if you have ants, you can put those there. Again, put pom-poms there. I happen to have a whole bunch. I think I got these in a Kinder crate. All these little ants, so fun. So they're basically making the number line. Oh, what's that ant book? Counting to 100, 100. I think it's called like 100 Hungry Ants. But yeah, so they're basically just making the number line. And then if you want, again, you can. Or you can just have these like in the tray. They don't have to be, you don't have to use them like for one-on-one correspondence. They can just be kind of on the tray for something fun, just to add a little bit more, to make it just a little bit more exciting. And then I have the worksheet, and so they can either trace the numbers or they can fill them in. Totally up to you. And you don't have to do the worksheets too if you don't want to for this unit. Now, if you're wanting kiddos to maybe not count to 100 yet, maybe they're not ready to do that, but you want them to practice counting and making number lines. So I have a couple activities that count to 100, but just in smaller segments. So this one is a donut count. So this one, they are starting with the number 1, and they are counting all the donuts, and they are going all the way up to 20. And again, if you have donut mini erasers, you can put those out, and that way they can put 1 on each one. Again, pom-poms, or you don't have to have a manipulative with it. Totally, you do what works for you and your kiddos. But basically, they're gonna make all the numbers, and they're gonna have them go all the way up to 20. So, just again, just starting making that number line, but just a little bit shorter than 1 to 100. And then there is a worksheet to go with that. And then for numbers, now they're gonna make numbers up from starting at 20. So they're counting, but they're starting at a number that isn't 1. So you could put all of your cookie numbers on a tray. Of course, I can't find number 20. Where are you? It's in here somewhere. Oh, it's stuck. Okay, so you can put a spatula on it, and they can get the cookies off the tray, and they can make their number line. Oops. And they can have it go all the way up to 40 or 39. That's where the worksheet ends. So again, just put it on a cookie tray just to make it a little bit more fun. You don't have to, but just kind of add a little bit of spice or a little bit of just extra flair to the activity just by making it a little bit more hands-on with a little spatula. And then we have the beehive. So this one is a bee count. So this one they start at 40 and go all the way to 60. So and obviously you wouldn't have these in order. I did it tonight so that way it would be easier and you wouldn't lick your fingers like I am. I actually didn't laminate this one because it was a little tricky to photograph. Because there are so many cards for all these games. Normally my games don't have this many pieces. This unit is really big. So they're making the number line all the way up to 46. And again, if you wanted to have them put out little pom-poms on each one or bee counters, so that way they can count 40, 41, 42, 43, and going all the way out, up to you. Whatever works for you. So there's that one. And again, counting on from a number other than 1. So this one goes 40 up to 60. And then bubbles. So I tried to make these activities too of things that you could actually have that many of that number. Like you wouldn't have 100 bears, right? You could have 100 ants go in a line or bubbles. So this one starts at 60 and it goes all the way up to 80. And you could use blue pom-poms for your little bubbles, just so they have something to count and touch if you want. You could also put these cards on a tray and put all of these pom-poms on it just to make them in some bubbles. And that way they have to kind of find them wherever they are and make their number line that way. And then again, I have the worksheet to go with it. So this one they are starting at 60 and going all the way up to 80. And then the last one is gumballs, which pom-poms you could totally use for that. So this one they're starting at 80 and they are counting gumballs all the way up to 100 and making that number line. You could also, if you don't want to do this in a floor, you could put this in a pocket chart so that way they can put those in number order that way. And then we have the worksheet to go with it. So there's that one. And then I love cars, and kids love cars, and boys love cars, and girls love cars. So I made some race to 50 games, and I made a race to 100 games. So you can play this game. Oh, I have an alarm going off. So this one is race to 50. So this game you will need a dice. So you roll the dice, 1, and you either mark it or cover it up. You pick. If you have a lot of counters, cover it up. If you want your kiddos to actually be touching and seeing that many objects, do that. If you want them to just mark it off, you can do that too. And then they would roll again, 1, and then just keep rolling, 1, 2. So now I'm up to 4, and basically they're just counting on, and they're getting all the way to 100, 1 or 50, 2, 3, and then they would just keep going and keep rolling until, oh look, I have an eraser this time, all the way up to 50. You could also use bingo chips, and then at the end they could use a magnetic wand to collect all of them. That would be another fun option too. So there's that one. And then we also have the counting to 100. I do like to use bingo daubers sometimes too, and have them switch colors every time they roll the dice. So like this one, they would roll 3, and then they would count 3. 1, course, right? Okay, we're just gonna pretend it works. 1, 2, 3. I'm like a little kid, I made a puddle. That's okay. You could also do paint sticks and they could color in each block, and then when they roll again, they would get the different color. But so they can see all of these little different numbers that they rolled make all the way up to 100. You could also use like car counters if you have them, but they don't really fit on the 100 chart, but they do fit on the 50 chart. I just don't have that many counters, but here's some ideas for counters if you want to do things that are up to 100, because a lot of times our math counters, there aren't 100 of them. So you could use things like small Legos to cover up your boards, maybe not the long ones. So you could use those to cover them up. You could also have them stack Legos. They could roll the dice. I do this all the time when my kiddos, we are doing like a building, or they just, kiddos who love Legos, they can roll the dice and they can make, see how tall they can make their tower? 3, 1, 2, 3, and then they could also mark it on their board. 2, 3. And they could roll the dice again. 5, and then they would add 5 more to their tower or their building, and then mark that many more out on their board. Now, I probably wouldn't use the race car board for that. You could just use the 100, like just the plain 100 chart for that activity. You can also, pom-poms, little pom-poms are great because they're inexpensive. Dollar Tree, I get these little ones from Hobby Lobby. You can also use mini erasers to count. They are so much fun. These are just some little fruit ones I got off of Amazon. You can use any mini counters you have. Little rocks are really fun. These are just from the Dollar Tree. Make so many counters. Okay. And then I also have like a basket of like generic counters I just have out for different things we do randomly during the day, or for math or counting or making letters, or like these little gems would be great. Right now it's like Christmas time, so you could do jingle bells. Basically anything at the Dollar Tree that is small and tiny and come in like a pack of 100 for $1 would be great. Things to count for your counting to 100 unit. Just ignore my alarm going off in the background. So there is also in this set, I have some clip cards. So they are counting by tens. So these are little frogs on a log. Let me see if you can, just a little zoom in. So it's basically like they're counting 10 frames. So like this one would be 10. So what they do is they put a clip on it. And again, when they're using those clothespins, it's using all that, sneaking in all that fine motor work. This one, they count by tens, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. And then they would have to find the number 60 and they could clip it. If you don't want to clip it, they can always just cover it up like a rock or something. And then I also have the base 10 blocks cards as well. So 2 different ways to count to 100. They can use base 10 blocks or they can count the 10 frames. And then here is the worksheet that goes with the little froggies. And then you could use one of the base 10 worksheets if you have the base 10 clip cards out. So that's a fun one. And then we have the missing case of the missing numbers. So this one I made into like an animal theme. And again, I have some different worksheets you can do to cut out with this. And again, the worksheets are in here, they're optional. You can use them or you don't have to use them. I would put some little animals out that way if they wanted to count, they could. And these are different numbers are missing different. So there's just a whole bunch of blank ones. Sometimes there's 2 in a row. Sometimes it's the first number. Sometimes it's the one in the middle. It just all depends. It's all different. So like, let's say I picked this one. I would do 70, 71, 72, 73. And if you want to have a 100 chart out for any of these activities, so if they say, I don't know how to make 73, they could find it on the 100 chart and then make it. And then also it's fun to have these little animals out because I thought after they're done, they could check it. they could go 70, 71, 72, 73, 74. So they could count with a little animal, again, getting that one-to-one correspondence in by moving the little animal each time. And different kiddos will need or want to do different things. Some kids will love counting with the animals. Other kids will just love writing on the number strips. It's another fun one. Okay, so this one I love. So this one is a flip and bind with a watermelon theme. So I just got a pink tray because it kind of looks like a watermelon. And then I just put some black beans on the table, on the tray. And what they're gonna do is there's a black and white one or there's a color mat. So they can flip a card, so it'll be 99, and then they can literally use the bean to cover it. Or if you want, they could flip the card and then use a bingo dabber to mark it. And then again, I just had some green and pink ones out, and then they can mark them as they go, but they are just working on identifying those numbers and finding them on the 100 card, because counting to 100 is tricky. So many numbers. And then I have another base 10 activity. This one, here's the worksheet to go with it. This one is a construction theme. So they're using the base 10 blocks. And then they are making the number with the base 10 blocks. So they just put the number card up there and the little crane, and then they have to make it with the base 10 blocks. 2, 4, 6, 7. So make 27, and then they get to pick a card and try again. And then again, there is a worksheet with it. Again, you can pick the numbers you want to put out. If you don't if your kiddos are not ready to make numbers to 100, that's okay. You just put out numbers to 30. So yeah, so pick the numbers again that work for your kiddos, because you don't want them to be frustrated. And you know your kiddos because you've had them all year in your class and you know what they're capable of. Some of these games you could do for small groups, some you could do as table time activities, as center activities, and then you can vary the level of difficulty. You ready for it? Like, I think this is my favorite activity out of the whole thing. Well, maybe I'll show you. So this one is we're making collections of 100. So this one is really fun. So I wanted to do it a couple different ways. So this one, so it comes with 2 different mats. So we're making 100 collages. So upside down. So this one, they can make 10 on each 10 spot, and then that would be 100 total. So they can do it that way. Or they can fill in a 10 frame to make 100 things to make their collage. So if you have a whole bunch of these bubble stickers, I want to say I got these at Office Max forever ago. I'll pop the link to these in the comments because these are great. I love using these for fine motor journals too. But basically, I just had a whole bunch of these out. Or you can have whatever stickers out, or you can have them use the dot markers, or just dot stickers. And they're just making collections of 100. So they have 10 of this, 10 of each sticker, making 100. And then if you're using the dot markers, they could do 10 green dots, 10 pink dots, 10 red dots, and so on. So fun. Or you can make it in a tray. And they can make their collage this way. So you can use this one, since some of these things will not fit nicely in the 10 frame. So this one I made, so fun, so sparkly. But I just kind of put things I had in my class. And again, if you have this unit, I have ideas for you on what you can put out. These are chip and dip trays from the Dollar Tree or Lakeshore. So I have some googly eyes. These are actually matchsticks. They're by the popsicle sticks at Michael's, or you can grab them off Amazon. There's some dot stickers, and you guys know I love cutting my stickers up smaller. And then you guys, I literally cut up pieces of ribbon. That's it. That's all I put there. I cut up my own. You guys know I cut up my own tissue paper because it's never square. I have some pom-poms, and then these I had in my art closet. oh goodness. They're sequins from something. I don't know what. So you can do that as well. Ooh, one thing I also thought of, if you have paper punches, you can put these in a tray with some strips of paper, and they could punch 100 of each thing. These are from Lakeshore, but you can use any that you have. They could just put a whole bunch of paper punches out, and then they could put 10 in each circle or each 10 frame, and then they could do it that way too, sneaking in some fine motor work. So you could do that if you didn't want to do the art collage. But how fun is that? It's just like a little collection of 100 goodies. And then if you wanted to use actual objects, you could totally do that too. Now, if you don't have my unit, or maybe your things are bigger, what you can do is take a piece of paper that's, you know, like this big, and you can just like draw like a chart on it. Like, let's say you had this one, and maybe your objects don't fit there. You can just draw, like, and make your own sorting boards. That's totally fine too. And then just write in 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, or let your students do it, and then they can fill up and make collections of 100 or a collage of 100 that way too. And then they can also make an actual like object collection. So you saw my baskets of goodies, so you can put out whatever you want. What do your kiddos like to count? What do they like? What are their favorite math manipulative? What math manipulative do you have that is small that are a ton? Like I know I don't have, like, in my cubes probably wouldn't be very good because I don't have a lot of cubes, but I do have a lot of little Legos. I do a lot of pom-poms. So find what you have that are small, that you have big collections of, to do this. So this one, I did 100 mini erasers, and I did 10 of each kind on there. Luckily they stuck, so you guys could see it. And then there's also, oh my gosh. So this one, I use the rocks, and then I just kind of put them in. I counted 10 each. I don't know where this one goes. That's my guess. And then 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. And I just used, again, these little rocks. And these are just from the Dollar Tree. So, and again, if you don't have my mat, you can totally make this mat just start by drawing circles on a piece of paper. And then I do have, these are just some random worksheets that would work great with the collection to 100. So they're putting 10 gumballs. They're drawing 10 gumballs in each one. Watermelon seeds or cookies. So again, they're just kind of like dotting or drawing circles. And again, you can use the worksheets or not use them. Your call. You know your kiddos best. And you know what your school requires, school allows, doesn't allow, all the things. So you make that call, but they're in there if you want them. And then these, and a lot of these, you guys, the collection one, the collage collection one, these would be so fun for the 100th day of school. You can put out all of these counting to 100 activities for the 100th week of school or 100th day, and they can do all things to 100 that day. And of course, I had to have the 100th day hats. Okay, my head's really big apparently. So it comes like this, and they cut out the two pieces, and then they have to, there is the counting by 10 on the back to make the hat, and they just glue it together. That's a fun activity for the 100th day. And this one is a tried and true, everyone does this one, right? It's a 100 things collection. So I have some bulletin board headers, or you could put this out in the center, 100 looks like, or my collection. And then I have, if you wanted to make this a at-home activity, I have one that is asking for parents to send. So what you would do is send an empty baggie with, you could tape that on and then put it to the note and staple it and send it home. And what they're gonna do is they're at home going to count 100 things and put it in the bag. It does say do not bring in anything that is a treasure. And then I have 2 different colors because one is asking for no food items and this one allows food, or vice versa. I can't remember which is which. So, and then I have suggestions on there too for moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas, whoever's doing the activity. And you can also put one of these boards, like so you would have the board with this and a little bag. You could send all of it home together. So that way they have a board to count on. Because as a mom, my kindergartner did this. He did this. I think he's done this activity where they have to bring in 100 things for the last 3 years. So he's in 3rd grade. Now he can do it independently. Now that he's in 2nd grade. But that kindergarten year was tricky. Like I literally drew a mat on the table and to help him count out each group. So totally send this home if you think this would help, because you don't want to make this stressful for the kiddo or for the family if they're doing it at home. And then here's just some things, and what you could do is you could put this on a bulletin board and have, this is the little header, and then you can have all of the different things. This is what my kiddo did one year. He brought in 100 gold coins. And then Q-tips or popsicle sticks. So yeah, so that way they can see what 100 looks like with things of different sizes and different shapes, different colors. And makes a great bulletin board and a great homeschool connection activity for you to do. And I know everyone loves to do the 100th day of school necklaces. I have a little counting board and there's a little necklace in here, so that way they can count out and they have a visual again to help them count out 100. Or you can use the there's this board too. Oh wait, no, not this one, sorry. Yeah, so this one just has the 10 frames, that way they're counting all of them. Now it's your choice, so you can have them just make it like rainbow, or you can tell them that they need to use one color for each 10. So maybe this 10 would be red, and then this 10 would be green, and maybe this one would be blue, and this one would be yellow, and this one would be orange, and this one would be purple, and so on. So like, or you can even put a color there, so that way they know what color they have to match. But that way they could visually see each 10 on the necklace, and that's up to you. You can have them just practice counting out and putting it on, or they can, if they're ready, and they can do each 10 by color. You can also use beads for this activity if you are not allowed to use food in your classroom. That's always, another option is just to use like pony beads or basically any kind of bead, or you can cut up straws if you, because let's be honest, beads are kind of expensive, I think. So you could give all the kiddos straws, and they could cut them up like for morning table time or morning work, and tell them they cut them up pretty small, and then just some plastic straws from the dollar store, or like the like Walmart or Target have them usually for $1 all the time, like the plastic ones. And then they can put the cut up straws on there, and then it's a lot cheaper than buying 100 beads for each kiddo. Because things add up so quick, I feel like sometimes. And then here is another one. I'm sure you guys know this one. So basically, you're gonna ask the families, and I have the note included in the unit for you guys, to send in a treat. And then once families send in a treat, so, and I have some ideas for them on there as well, so that way they're not like, well, what on earth does the teacher want? I don't know what to bring. There's ideas, tons of them on there. And if you are peanut free, I would just put that at the top of the note. So I did this one, but they kind of rolled on me. So you guys can see it. But basically they're making a snack with 100 things. So like I have Cocoa Puffs, but they kind of rolled around on me. Mini marshmallows work great. Cheerios, Skittles, oyster crackers, basically any kind of cereal, or like a smaller snack, goldfish, a lot of candies, but obviously you don't want everyone to bring in candy. So there's a lot of other ideas for you guys. And then I would just put them all in little bowls and they can count it out. And then what they do at the end is they have their snack. And I also have the option of they want to count out 10 and just put them in the different circles. They could do that too. Totally up to you, whatever you guys want to do. So, I hope you guys loved. I lost you for a minute. Woo. Okay. So, I hope you guys loved all those activities. Again, this is everything that you see here is in the unit. And if you want it, grab it tonight. It's deeply discounted. It's in the Counting to 100 unit. You can also, I just forgot to tell you guys this. You can make this into like a butcher paper activity and have them find their favorite math counters, so they could use chains and all the different things. So instead of using all these tiny things, to take a piece of butcher paper and draw 10 circles on it and put 10 in each, like write the number 10 in each one, and then put counting to 100, and they can do that as a morning table time activity. And then they can have 100 different things, and they can, that way if you have like the bigger counters, they can count those out. You could also do like a graph. So here, I'll just make it small. So we'll just pretend like this is a big piece of butcher paper. And we'll just pretend like this is. And what you could just do is just make lines down it. Obviously you're gonna have 10 sections. So you could be like 10 and then 10. And it would be like 10 and then 20 and then 30 and then 40 and 50 all the way down. We'll just pretend like that's the correct number. So you could do that on like a giant butcher paper activity, or if you didn't want to put the 10s at the bottom, you could do like 10 and then 20 and 30, and that way it would kind of like label how big it is. So you guys do however you want to do. But a lot of that charts in here you could totally make into a butcher paper activity, so it's bigger and the kids are up and moving and talking about math and all the things. So yeah, so I hope you guys loved this new unit. Again, all of these activities are in the Counting to 100 unit. It covers, I have it labeled. I think it's 3 or 4 Common Core standards. Obviously, counting to 100, counting on from a number other than 1, the base 10 block, making numbers with base 10 blocks is in there. So yeah, so just tons and tons of good, solid activities that you can use in your classroom to cover all the standards, but make it so much fun where the kids want to come to school and they want to learn. So hopefully you have less problem behaviors, because behaviors right now are a lot. So yeah, so I hope this helps. If you guys use this in your classroom, be sure to go on the Pocket of Preschool Facebook group and show off all the things in there, because everyone will applaud you. And sometimes you guys as teachers, like, not enough people are applauding us, or you, right? Like, you're not getting a pat on the back for this awesome math activity or awesome art activity or whatever thing that you did that went amazing. So that Pocket of Preschool Facebook group is there for you to give yourself some pat on the back, because all of the teachers in there are amazing. They're so super supportive. So you can share the activities you do in there. If you do it on Instagram, go ahead and tag me so I can see it. I love seeing what you guys do in your classrooms. So that is all I have for you tonight. You guys have an awesome night.